I am burnt out. I don't need losing anybody. I don't need loving anybody. I don't need, the whole thing I was done with. And I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in 2025 on these apps. Definitely recommend. 10 out of 10. Yeah, you guys are gonna like it. Go ahead and grab your cup, your tea, because I know that's what you came for. There's actually nothing even in here. I don't even feel like drinking anything right now. Well, maybe something, but go ahead and grab your cup because there's a lot to talk about. All right, we're comfortable. Hi, everyone. I'm Angelina, and this is Blueprint DIY, where we remake our clothes to be just as unique as us. At least that's what we've been doing for the past 12 and a half, almost 13 years. Let's talk about burnout first. As you guys may have well suspected, I am burnt out. I am burnout. And I fought it for so long. I did not want to admit it to myself for so long, just because I am a perfectionist and I am a lot of things. That would not allow me to admit that to myself. But I started this channel as a hobby and as a fun thing to do to maintain my own identity while being a wife and a full-time stay-at-home mom. And I was doing architecture on the side. If you didn't know, I am a licensed architect in the state of Texas. I live in Houston, Texas. And I just wanted something fun, something fun that I could do to maintain my own identity so I wouldn't get lost in momdom. And so it was super fun. We had our ups and our downs throughout the channel. And then in 2017, my husband passed away, and I had to make a choice between architecture and, fortunately for me, I had this other option. I could go full-time content creation. And so at the time, I was working on a museum project that would take me 2 hours away from my kids. I could not imagine doing that on a continual basis. And I live in Houston, where I have a great support group, but my family doesn't live here. So I chose to do full-time content creation. And that meant I had to make an income, a living from content creation. And so it was no longer, I won't say it was no longer fun, because it was definitely fun. I chose it because it was fun. At the time, it was more fun for me and still is more fun for me than architecture. So I decided to go ahead and do that over architecture. And it grew, especially through 2020 when everybody was in the house. It grew and grew, and I'm still am so happy, and more than anything, so amazingly grateful for the community that I've built on this platform. Over time, the demands of keeping the content fresh, keeping the content new, doing new things that would please you guys, and the overall pleasing of you guys is one of the things that inevitably led to burnout. The other thing is that I had replaced my relationship with my husband with work. It is what it is. That's what I did. I dove into work full time, became really a workaholic. I was spending, and you guys behind the scenes, you don't know what it takes to maintain a thriving and growing YouTube channel. Everybody thinks it's just fun and games, and it's a super easy career to have, and it is not. I was spending all week, doing the shooting, and then all of Friday night, sometimes all-nighters, a lot of all-nighters, to edit the videos in the way that was satisfactory to me, and then so that they would be ready for Saturday morning at 9 a.m. which is what I committed to. And so that helped my channel to grow. And consistency, if you're looking into YouTube, consistency is the main thing that is going to help your channel to grow. And so I was very consistent for a lot of years and didn't grow as fast as I would have liked, but I was definitely still seeing growth. And so, that helped me to make the income that I needed to make the income that I needed in order to step out of my house, open up a shop, hire people, and go from there. Taking on that load of adding other people to it and then changing up the content to something you guys weren't used to, I think is where the spiral started to happen, because I started to realize that even though you're building a community and you feel like people are watching because they like you, that's not the case. They like you doing what they want you to do. So if you have a niche channel like I do, it's about upcycling. If you do anything, and I mean anything other than that one niche, views go down. And you have to almost build from the ground up towards that new niche. And sometimes that's hard to understand. But like back in the day when I was doing my videos with my daughter, and we decided to split the channels, it was almost like starting over. And it wasn't because that wasn't something I should be doing. It was just because like we had a lot of viewers that were there for the kid content. So, you do take a hit whenever you decide to do something new. But it was also realizing that people aren't always necessarily there for you. They're there to feed their own something that they need. So to feed their own inspiration because they're bored or because, whatever. It's like you're feeding them. And if you're not feeding them, then they're done with you. And realizing the nature of that kind of depressing in a way. It really is kind of depressing in a way where you feel like you have this whole community of people, but really not everybody is cares about you. Like they honestly do not care about you at all. They care about what you can give them, what you offer them. And so when I stopped doing so many upcycles, I realized that very, very quickly. And so that, that's a hard realization, but I mean, it is what it is. It's a hard realization, but it is what it is. And because it is a business. So, I have to approach it in that way as well. But I did not want to admit it. And then I was taking on all of these other responsibilities, this responsibility of being a boss for the first time in my life. Not my first leadership role by any means, but my first time handling actually being the boss, of something. And so that has been interesting. I'm not going to go deeply into that, but the weight of trying to keep everything going and keep people employed and keep people happy, which I should not have necessarily been doing. Yeah, it nearly broke me. So that on top of trying to continue to do videos, and I don't see, like, I want to continue to do videos, like I want to. And it's just it's like all of these things stacking up on top of one another, on top of one another, on top of one another. And then having people in the comments, and this is because I know that nobody who says these things means any harm, but from my perspective, like, I'm over here struggling, and everybody's like, I miss when you did, like everybody will say something specific. I miss when you did, the competition show, which takes a lot of effort, and then did not get the views that was worth me doing that. Or I miss your upcycles, or I miss your old content, or I miss, this or that. And it's just like, you're trying to please everybody. And I am and I have issues with people pleasing. And so taking all of that on to yourself at once, it's enough to drive you mad, like literally mad. And so I got to the point where I said, okay, I am a workaholic. I admitted that to myself. I am a workaholic. And I knew that eventually I wanted to date again, or I finally admitted it to myself because right after I said, I'm never getting married again. I don't care. I'm just going to do my own thing. And I don't need that in my life. I don't need losing anybody. I don't need loving anybody. I don't need, the whole thing I was done with. But I finally admitted that, I would like companionship, for the second half of my life. My kids are getting older. Today is the last day of school as I'm recording this. I officially have a senior and a junior. So the next 2 years, I am going to be sending kids off to college, Lord willing, and they're going somewhere. But so that's for the next 2 years, and so I figured, eventually I would like companionship. I don't want to spend the second half of my life alone. I finally admitted that to myself, but I felt like, I can't be a workaholic and be trying to date because that requires time, or at least I thought so. And so I decided that, okay, I'm a workaholic. I want to separate things because I was working basically 24/7, like working 24/7, post and just trying to be all things to all people and keep the channel going, keep all of my social media going, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, everything going. And so, as well as now, I have this book and I'm teaching classes and, you know, all of these things on top of being a mom. And so I decided, okay, I want to separate work from my personal life. And so I was like, okay, from now on, I'm going to set hours. I'm going to set hours. I'm going to set days where I work and I do not take work home. With that, I struggled because I couldn't figure out how to fit everything in that time frame because I was used to working 24/7, nights, weekends, whenever, just from my bed, from my room, working all the time. And so I sacrificed like the channel. You guys have seen it. The channel took a hit. A lot of things took a hit because I just set that. Like, I'm not, if it can't get done in work hours, and they were reasonable work hours. If it can't get done during work hours, then it should not be getting done. I have to figure out a way to work smarter and not harder. So I did that. And then in the midst of everything that was going on, I said, okay, now's the time. I'm going to start dating again. So I did. And I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in 2025 on these apps. And I'll say this, what I can say in hindsight not meaning that I'm done with it, but hindsight, everything that I've experienced, I think that everybody is in some sort of transition at this stage of life, and you have to really look at the whatever transition that person is in. So I found a lot of guys hate their jobs. A lot of guys have been divorced. And a lot of the ones that I'm meeting, either like maybe she cheated or um, it's just whatever the issue was, everybody's dealing with their issues. And so some people get on there and they're like, you have to be 100% completely healed. Don't message me if you're not completely healed, which I understand. I understand where they're coming from. But I think if you look at it from the perspective of everybody's going through some type of transition, especially in my age group, then it is helpful to look at it from that perspective. And then you just have to ask yourself, am I willing to deal with the transition that this person is going through? So, like for me, I'm a very serious person. Like, I kind of like, I get in, I want to know as much about you as quickly as possible so that I can make my decision. And get out if that's what I want to do. Most people are not like that. Most people, or most guys that I have talked to, they it's like the trickle, information, and then I've gotten caught up in a couple text only type situations, which were absolutely horrid, horrid. I'm just not a text only type person. I like to talk on the phone, in person. I like deep conversations. Um, and, my late husband was my best friend. Like, we were friends first. And so I'm struggling. I'm struggling with that a bit. So, it has been a journey. And I hit, after dating some like one person, I hit a wall. Like, I hit a wall. So from last year, some things that happened last year that I don't want to talk about. Um, into now, into going into dating, and I just hit a wall, and was losing weight, just my anxiety just very dysregulated. And so after that situation was over, I realized, like, I am burnt out. I am burnt out from work. I am burnt out from being a primary caregiver. I am burnt out just from everything. I'm tired, like, tired. And so finally said, yeah, I can't do this alone. I need help. And so I sought out a therapist, and I'm still currently in therapy. It is definitely helping. Definitely. Not just for the burnout, but for other things that I didn't even really realize were there. Which I've always dealt with anxiety. I dealt with anxiety as a kid. And so it is definitely helping with a lot of things that I did not even know or didn't really acknowledge were a thing. So definitely recommend, 10 out of 10. Recommend. But yeah, so now I am dating and working, and being a mom, but in therapy. So things have definitely improved since I started that. But overall, I am just now getting my spark back. And I wanted to make this video because you will start to see things start to ramp up again. But I am in no means going back to the schedule, not necessarily the schedule, the pace that I was doing before. I am prioritizing myself. I am learning how to be good to myself and not always put everybody ahead of me. And I mean everybody ahead of me. So I think that is going to be the only key to me not returning to, or healing from the burnout and not returning to it, is to be good to myself. I don't necessarily have to be completely selfish, but I just have to be good to myself. And I'm learning how to do that, and the pace can't be as high as it was before, because I was just running around trying to please everybody, and that's just the bottom line. So I do have some amazing ideas that I am working on behind the scenes. If you haven't noticed, I did put out an online course. We haven't been teaching any classes in studio for the summer, but I do have an idea for something for July that I'm about to tell you about. But I did release my introduction to sewing course online, and I'm super excited about that. I'm still working out a couple of kinks, because I think most people think that it is a like 1 day event because I have a day listed on there. It is just a class, that it's a course. It's an online course you can take at your leisure. But in order to enhance it, and this is the reason why I didn't put this out sooner, I wanted to have an element of kind of in person where you would have me to ask questions, because what I found in person in the class is that people along the way have so many questions. Their sewing machines don't cooperate. And I didn't want people to just be out there without any type of almost hands-on assistance. And so that's what the dates are for. You don't necessarily have to show up, but the virtual is an added bonus where you would get me and Kayshell in a setting where I can look at least through the camera. I can look at your sewing machine and say, hey, yeah, you're threading it almost right, but just tweak this and help you through it. So that's what that's for. I may adjust the way I say it so that it is clearer. But you guys let me know if you have any suggestions about that. I am working on recording the full 6-week course so that that will be online, and that'll allow me to teach people all over and not just here in Houston. We will start back up our Houston classes in the fall with the 6-week course, as well as a denim, another make your jeans from scratch class. I actually have on one of my pair of jeans right now. Love them. And so, yeah, I'll probably make a different pair this time, a different style this time. But we are, ramping up for or preparing for that class. But I do have a idea for something. So you guys, some people said they wanted to take my in-person 6-week course, but of course, who's gonna fly into town for 6 weeks? That's you can't do that. So I decided that over the course of 6 weeks, each class is 2 hours, 12 hours. I can fit 12 hours of class in one weekend, a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it'll be 4 hours a day over the course of the weekend. People can fly in for a weekend. So I'm super excited to announce that July 25th through the 27th, I will be hosting a weekend event. And so it was just going to be like basically taking the 6-week class and putting it into a weekend. But it has turned into a whole thing, guys. It is a whole showdown. Yes, it is a showdown. So somebody, and I have to give credit where credit is due, an amazing person that I won't name, gave me the idea of adding line dancing in with the class, because that is such a big thing here in Houston. And it's such a big thing right now with the whole Where Them Fans At Boots on the Ground song. It's like a big deal. So that kind of snowballed into this whole Western thing. And you guys know how I am known for denim upcycles and for sewing denim. I love denim. So, and then people also really want to learn how to sew denim. So I am doing like the Learn to Sew in 6 Weeks. So a complete beginner class taking you from not knowing anything about a sewing machine all the way to sewing a complete pair of denim shorts in one weekend. And it's a sew down. It is going to have we're going to have a free short line dancing class. There will be a fashion show on the Sunday at the end. So it's 4 days 4 hours per day, 4 hours Friday, 4 hours Saturday, 4 hours Sunday. And then at the end of that, there will be a fashion show and we'll all do our line dance. It is going to be absolutely amazing. We are still working out. I have the line dance teacher already. We have the project that we're going to make is going to look something like this, but we are also going to add, and the denim will be included. You guys know I have 50 million sewing machines, so that's included. All you need to do is show up. Honestly, show up. And then we also are going to have things where you can customize your shorts to make them look more Western. So just all you have to do is show up with your boots and your fans and your hats, whatever you want to style your shorts with. Bring that, because we will be having a fashion show at the end. But I like this totally like sparked something for me. And so me and Kayshell have been working on it. And I'm so excited. I think it's going to be an amazing, amazing, amazing event, so that even if you're coming from out of town, you get a whole taste of Houston. You get a taste of Texas. Really, really, yeah, a big taste of Texas. So, like I said, it's July 25th through the 27th. You will be hearing much more about that very soon, so that you can sign up. I don't have a waiting list yet, or maybe I do. If I put a waiting list, then I'll link it right here, because you guys have been signing up for my waiting list for the online class so pretty well. So maybe I'll add a waiting list. But yeah, that is what's been going on in my life. I'm not gonna go into detail about the dating too much. Eventually, I'm hoping, because you guys, some of you guys, not all, I know that not all, but some of you guys have been rocking with me for so long, and you really do actually care about what's going on in my life. And so I would eventually like, to have someone that would be okay with, being included in the channel every so often. So, because, some of you guys, I know you really root for me. And it was very sad when, when my late husband passed away. And some of you guys are very, very encouraging, and I appreciate that. So, yeah, when we get to that point, if we get to that point, I will definitely share that. But currently, we are not at that point. So, we're not there yet. Still working on it. But yeah, that's what's going on. I actually do have a personal life now. So yeah, I don't spend every waking moment working on this channel. But I do need to get my butt in gear and get back to what I love doing, and really, focus on taking care of myself. And part of it is this creative outlet. Oh, I forgot another part. Over the summer, you will see some changes. The content, we will go back to making videos, sewing and upcycling, but I will have a guest. And I don't even know if I should share who the guest is. I'm gonna you'll see. I'm gonna have a guest, at least some of the time, and you guys are gonna like it. Yeah, you're gonna like it. It's gonna be fresh. It's gonna be, yeah, you guys are gonna like it. So I'm excited for what is in store for the channel and for my own life this summer. So if you at all care, keep rooting for your girl. Keep watching, and let's see, and send up a few prayers for me, please. And let's see where the next 12, 13 years take us. All right. I hope that makes everything make sense, at least a little bit. And I will see you guys in the next one. All right. Bye.